Correction note on, it says the play night is on September 21.
I saw that.
Okay. But the headline says.
If I can slip it in somewhere. Well, they'll know that. You know, this is an above average congregation in terms of figuring things out. Good morning, the sun is shining through. Good morning to you. Oh, I heard some singers out there. Good, thank you. What's he doing? What's he singing? Anyhow, good morning to you. My name is Richard McLeod, and I am your service leader for the day. Our regular minister is Stephen Robinson, and he's not with us today, but we have a marvelous replacement, a guest speaker, which we have probably once every month or two. So you are here on a good day. Our services are streamed on YouTube, but no matter how you choose to join us, you are always welcome. We encourage everybody to read the announcements in the order of service. If you don't have one, share with somebody. We also provide weekly email updates every Thursday. And don't forget to check out our website at uucolumbia.org. You'll find lots of information there, so don't miss it. Keep it open. We welcome families with children. And today, after the story for all ages, children will be dismissed for their classes. So for whatever children are in the congregation now, you will be dismissed after the story for all ages. For infants and children to age 5, we do provide child care, but we do need more volunteers for child care. We even have some openings for paid volunteers for child care. Bethany Storlazzi and Jonathan are the ones to see about that, but they're not here today. There are a few of us at the mountain today. So see them when they return with all sorts of stories. Flowers today are given by Bill Dolly and Bonnie Stronach. Bill and Bonnie are dedicating today's flowers on Bill's 75th birthday to the families and victims of Thursday's senseless slaughter of innocents in Lewistown, Maine. Bill and Bonnie have personal attachments to that part of the country. That's their home plate. So Bill, Polly, and thank you for the flowers. And now, please silence all devices as we center ourselves for today's service and listen to the prelude. Anna?
Our prelude is Great Spirit's Hands by the duo Ma Muse. Overdue and overdressed, under blankets as old as earth. Through the seasons there's a reckoning of how we die and we take birth. So in between all our holy whispers In the marketplace of our dreams, we dance, dance, dance for all the beauty and all the obscene. 'Cause life is short and it's our duty to shake it up while we can, to be worn, ragged, used up by a great spirit's hands, by a great spirit's hand. Doobity-doo, ba-dum bum bum, ba-doobity-doo, ba-dum bum bum, ba-doobity-doo, ba-dum bum bum, ba-doobity-doo. Walk outside, there is no doorway, only wet ground from the rain. And the dewdrops live in treetops, they know nothing of personal gain. And all the leaves, they will fall, yeah, believe they will fall. And we will do the same, yeah. So we dance, dance, dance for all the treetops and the skies that breathe the rain. Life is short and it's our duty to shake it up while we can, to be worn, ragged, used up by a great spirit's hands, by a great spirit's hands. The doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo. And in the morning a child will come to us, an old woman will go the other way, through the tunnel of dark and light. Birth and death, it's one and the same. And does the dragonfly get lonely as she dies in the palm of my hand? I offer it up, all I do, and don't understand. Life is short and it's our duty to shake it up while we can, to be worn, ragged, used up by a great spirit's hands, by a great spirit's hands. The doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo. Life is short and it's our duty to shake it up while we can, to be worn, ragged, used up by a great spirit's hands, by a great spirit's hands. Doobity-doo, the dum bum bum, the doobity-doo.
Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth, Anna, Celeste. And now it's time to do our congregational covenant. So please stand and join me in the congregational covenant as found printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. We side with love, embracing and welcoming all people. Our board members and committee chairs welcome your questions and comments. Board members may be recognized by their green name tags if you have any questions or comments. Now, we'd like to recognize any guests or visitors we have here today. So, visitors, if you are willing and able, please wait for the microphone to come around and share with us your name and where you are from. And if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them. But wait till Phil comes around with the microphone. Phil.
I'm lonely here. Oh, there we go.
Good morning. My name is Kristen Spangler, and I'm actually here with your guest speaker.
Good morning. I'm Pam Lawrence, and I'm here with Edwina and Kristen. Thank you.
I'm Yolanda, an old-time member. I'm here with my friend Shannon Staley, who is familiar with us, but she hadn't been around for a long time.
Thank you, Phil, and welcome, visitors. If you would like to know more about UUCC, please fill out a visitor card, which you can find probably in the chair back in front of you, and place it in the collection plate, and we will email you. We will not come visit you, but we will email you about our upcoming events. We have a very special chalice lighter today. The chalice is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. And here to light our chalice today is mother and son, Anna and Lyndon. Lyndon is what, is it 3 months now? Yes.
Lyndon is 12 weeks old. This is his first time visiting us, and he's happy to share smiles and his new ability to laugh with you all. Say, ah? Not yet.
Okay. As the chalice is lighted and its flame merges with the morning light streaming through our windows, this is the official beginning of today's service, where we come together in a spirit of renewal, a time of learning, seeking, and spiritual sharing. Spirit of light and of life, come unto us. Thank you, Anna and Lyndon. Today's guest speaker is Edwina Winter. Several of us met her when she was and is teaching a class at the Shepherd's Center on Trenham Road. Edwina has had a globe-trotting life. She is a third-generation expat in her family. She was born in the UK with a childhood in Ethiopia, which is the class that she's teaching right now, which is a very, very interesting thing you didn't know. She traveled extensively to Europe and the United Arab Emirates, then, working in the civil nuclear program, moved to the United States. After that, she spent a decade working in China, Japan, and South Korea. She is now semi-retired and living in Irmo. Our opening hymn.
Our opening hymn is in the teal hymnal. It's number 1020, Woe Ya Ya. And just a couple notes on the form as you're singing along with this hymn. It does go for 4 pages. And on page 3 and 4, you're going to see some sections with lines that have dots next to them. These are showing you that the section in between those dots will be repeated. The words are very repetitive though, so if you can just sort of catch on and sing along, don't be afraid of those repeats. We're going to sing the entire thing 2 times through. And you're welcome to sing both times. If you want to listen and follow along the first time and join in the second time, that's great too. Please go ahead and stand as you're willing and able to join in singing Wo Ya Ya. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will. And we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, 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 We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful. You may be seated.
The Human Family by Maya Angelou. It is time for the preachers, the rabbis, the priests, pundits, and professors to believe in the awesome wonder of diversity. It is time for parents to teach young people early on that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious. Some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane. I've not seen any two who really were the same. And lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. We love and lose in China. We weep on England's moors. We laugh and moan in Guinea and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland and born and die in Maine. In minor ways we differ, in major we're the same. I note the obvious difference between each thought and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Our young must be taught that brain shock, peculiarities do exist. Back then, beneath the skin, beyond the different features, and into the true heart of being. Fundamentally, we are more alike, my friend, than we are unalike.
Oh, I see. It's a button. Ta-da! It's a button. Wow, that's amazing. Anyhow, so you can hear me now? Do I have a microphone? Yes, I do. Anyhow, it's time for what we call the children's story of all ages. We say children because you can be young at any age. And we say for all ages because as long as you can get down on the floor and come back up, you're welcome to be here. So come on down. Children, adults, anybody who thinks that they could be a child, or if you were once a child, hello, and hello. Just have a seat right there. Oh, I'm envious of people who can get down on the floor. I'm even more envious of people who can get back up. Oh, what a nice crowd. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'll even give you a microphone sometimes if you need it. What big event is coming up this week that people get all dressed up for? Oh, you're close. What?
Halloween.
Halloween, yes, that's right. Halloween, people dress up as all kinds of stuff, right? Next question. Anyhow, people dress up. But I have a special request for people who dress up as what I call superheroes. Did you ever see any superheroes that dressed up? What did you see? I can't get that far. That's all right. What is it?
Either answer the question.
Okay.
You want to answer the question?
All right.
No, she's just going to be shot now.
She's going to be shy now. Okay, take turns being shy. All right. You ever see anybody come to your door or see them at a party somewhere that were dressed up as superheroes? Yes, you have. What is a superhero? Anybody know what that means? What?
A hero that comes save people.
Oh, a hero that can save people. That's well said.
A person that has powers.
A person that has powers. That's right. Say it loud. I'm not coming that far.
A person who helps make the world a better place.
Wow. Well, that's better answers than I even expected even. That's marvelous. But a superhero is a person who has special powers and who helps make the world a better place. That's right. Now, my big question is this. If you were a superhero, what would you do to make the world a better place? Now, I want to see a hand on this, and I want somebody to tell me that if you were a superhero, what would you do to make the world a better place? I think I've silenced them. Hang on, they're thinking. I can hear it.
I would help the homeless.
You would help the homeless. Okay, all right, I'll get you started. What else would you do if you were a superhero and you had so many powers? What would you do, Mary?
You could pick up trash.
Ooh, that's a good one. You would pick up trash. Okay. What else, Lucia?
Plant more trees.
Plant more trees. Okay. There's probably a superhero just for that. Yeah. What else? What else, if you were a superhero, might you do to make the world a better place? You got any more ideas?
I would help people who are in danger.
Help people who are in danger. That's right. Good point. Anybody from way out got another idea? Looks like he has an idea. He's just, yeah. He's gonna. Anyhow, if you were a superhero, there's lots of stuff that you could do to make the world a better place. So my last question to you, and then I'll let you go to your classes. Would you like to be a superhero and do some of those things? And does the world need more superheroes? Yes. Thank you all for your participation. There are classes in the back, I understand, so they will show you. Janice, are you leading? Okay. Anyhow, thank you, children. That's always a fun time. It's now time for part of the program that we call Candles of Community. If you have a significant joy, sorrow, or concern that you would like to share with the rest of us, you can email or text our minister or administrator by noon on Friday. And if you wish to share in person, you can pick up a candle out in the foyer as you come in. But let me say at this point too, we also have, for any of your concerns, we have a very active caring committee, and they wear yellow name tags. So anyhow, will those of you who have taken a candle, please come forward and say a bit about yourselves and light a candle.
Hi, my name is Craig Chatton, and I have a candle of, I guess, joy/gratitude. You'll see in your order of service that there's a play night coming up on Thursday night. I just wanted to really quickly express my gratitude to all the people who so far have worked so hard to make that thing a reality, the rehearsals and the practice and all that kind of stuff and stage stuff. And there's about 10 people involved in it and done an enormous amount of work, and I'm really grateful for it. Should be a really fun night. Oh, and the second item on your announcements in the order of service, there's a little typo in the text. It says September 21, but it's actually what the headline says, November 2nd. This Thursday night, November 2nd, doors open at 7 o'clock, and all the trouble will start at 7:30.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you. This is prime mover right here.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Stronach. I'm Bill Dolly's wife. And this candle is, I didn't realize Richard was going to mention Bill's birthday, so I had already picked up a candle. It's a candle of joy for Bill's 75 years. And I'll add my concern as we donated these flowers for our people, all of Maine, all of our people in Maine.
Thank you, Bonnie, and happy birthday, Bill. Okay, Caroline.
Hi, I'm Caroline Eastman, and I come here with mixed emotions. Support for my brother Roger, who suffered several broken ribs and a collapsed lung following a bike accident. Gratitude for the Good Samaritans who saw him go down and called the ambulance, without which he probably would not be here. Relief for my niece Nadia, who lives in Maine and is no longer in lockdown. And sorrow for the shooter who was so haunted by demons that he became one.
Very well said. Thank you, Caroline.
Sharon and John Matchett and Lyndon. He doesn't have any cares or concerns right now, but he might pretty soon because he just ate. So, at which time, I don't know whether I'll hand him off or not. My daughter, one lives in California and one lives in Rochester, New York. So they both, of course, love us dearly and want us with them. Well, who can afford California? So I made a decision out of the blue after all the redecorating that we did this year that we would not stay and enjoy it. We would move to Rochester. And so I started thinking that it would be a long search, you know, and New York is a crazy place to buy. But we found a house, and Emily and her realtor toured it and let me FaceTime, so I really have only FaceTimed this house. But Johnny is willing to go with me, and he's never been through snow except in our front yard when he drove the car through it. He didn't have permission, but he did it anyway. So he's going to go, and we're going to go up and be about 15 minutes from Emily and real close to the Erie Canal. So we're looking at things that will be fun to do and maybe make life easier and less stress on the kids worrying about us and us worrying about them. But I'm so grateful for you all. You just don't know until you start to leave. I mean, I've always known because I felt welcome as soon as I walked in here. But it's been a great place to find myself. And it's such an honor to be able to hold this little life. I thought we'd leave and I'd never get to see him. So I just want to thank you so much. You're a marvelous, marvelous group of people. I just can't tell you. We will be real close to a UU church up there. Bigger building, we'll see. And then I hope they have as big a heart.
Thank you, Sharon, Johnny. And we light one final candle for those joys and concerns that remain silent or unspoken in our hearts. Now, to ponder all these joys and concerns, let us pause for a moment of silent meditation. This congregation participates in Share the Plate, where half of our cash collection each Sunday goes to a local charity, and that's a way for us to give back to our community. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Cotton Branch Farm Sanctuary. So if you wish to donate to Share the Plate, please write Share the Plate on the memo line of your check or on the donation envelope as the offertory time begins. There is also a QR donation code in the order of service. So, ushers, please come forward.
Our offertory music is October, the autumn song from the seasons by Tchaikovsky.
We receive these gifts with gratitude and appreciation because they show that we are truly a giving community.
Good morning. I come from a family with itchy feet. My ex-husband used to say that all my family needed in life was an Airstream caravan by the side of the road, a milk churn or a beer crate to sit on, and a German shepherd on a tatty piece of rope. He was only half joking. I'm third-generation expat in my family. Between us, we have lived in India, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, the Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, the UK, the United Arab Emirates, and of course, the US. Add to that extensive travel to Europe, North Africa, and me working in China, Japan, and South Korea, I think as a family, we can plant a lot of flags on the map. That meant growing up in many different houses and places, but those homes were always filled with eclectic things. An Indian elephant bell, a Chinese abacus, an Ethiopian mesob basket, or an Arab coffee pot. Many statues of the Buddha or African tribal art. I think you get the picture. Apart from living in different countries, there were always interesting visitors, people from across the globe from different places and faiths, people who looked different, dressed differently, spoke differently. But everyone I met had stories, and those added to my family stories, and more recently, my stories. I'm sure all that travel, all those stories and memories have deeply affected my own perspective on the world, my own journey of faith, and my relationship with what I perceive as the divine. I know that I have been amazingly lucky to be able to interact with multiple faiths, including, of course, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Sikhism, and a few more isms besides. My first brush with the concept of God was when I lived in Ethiopia as a child. I remember Ethiopia a little bit. It was green, lush, extremely mountainous, and the people were beautiful, tall, slender, gracious, easy to laugh, sometimes ferocious looking with tribal tattoos and markings, but always kind and welcoming to the little kid with white blonde hair. I attended the American school in Addis Ababa, the capital city. I feel that the enduring things I learned were about the existence of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and religious patriarchy. I can remember being an angel in the school nativity play. I had the ubiquitous white dress and silver tinsel halo, and I was seriously upset. The halo should probably have caught fire. I was that angry. I wanted to be a wise man. The wise men had much more fun because they got to ride real camels. Of course they did. This was Ethiopia, the land where gold, frankincense, and myrrh come from. Girls can't be wise men, I was told. They can only be virgins and angels. I think that is a true statement about the way that society judges women even today. Ethiopia is an ancient country, the cradle of humanity. Adi, the remains of the oldest member of our human family, was discovered there dating from about 4.2 million years ago. As a country, it is fiercely independent, the only country in Africa that did not fall to European colonialism, a country of strong and old faiths. The tribal deities like Tumwi are closely linked to nature and the sky. But Ethiopia is predominantly a Christian country. Officially, the Tewahedo Coptic Church began in 327 AD, only a couple of years after Rome. But it is different. A church of mystery and mysticism linked to King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Potentially the home of the Ark of the Covenant. The name Tewahedo translates as united as one. I remember the priests in their brilliant white togas and turbans contrasting against ebony skin. They would always have a handheld, intricate metal latticework cross, unique to the Tewahedo Church, clutched in their hands. Through my childlike eyes, it appeared that every now and then they would just hit people over the head with these crosses. Later in life, I discovered that this church, just like the Roman church, performed liturgy in a foreign language, this time Ge'ez, a language from the kingdom of Aksum, and the cross was used to bless people and indicate when something important was going on. Who knew? I think those experiences perhaps wakened the mystic in me, the inquiring mind. It was certainly much more fun than the average Western church service, I discovered. Before the military coup of 1974, my parents came home to chilly, wet Blighty. It was there that I marked another couple of steps on my faith journey. The first was the realization that there were different flavors of Christianity. Apparently, I was Protestant, and there were other Christians called Catholics, and that the two groups didn't like each other very much. It was the time of the Troubles in Northern Ireland, an uncomfortable time on the mainland with endless bomb scares and acts of terrorism, all in the name of a supposedly non-violent God whom both sides professed fervent belief in. To my young brain, God was just stupid, and I paid little attention. It had not yet occurred to me to separate religion from faith, an affliction many people never recover from. Richard Rohr, one of my favorite spiritual writers, puts it well. He says, "Religion is like a thermos flask full of delicious soup." We have gotten hung up on worshipping the flask, the institutional religion, and forget the yummy soup inside, the faith, the relationship with the divine. The institutions are, of course, very happy to keep it that way. It gives them power and control, and I suppose, above all, wealth. There are over 4,800 current religions being practiced in the world today, many of them split into even further denominations. For example, there are over 33,000 Christian denominations. And not all religions are ancient. I quite fancy being a Jedi Knight. And there are Jedi temples in Texas and Turkey. That means there are a lot of thermos flasks out there. The trouble is, so many of those religions and factions hate each other and compete to be the most extreme or dogmatic. I don't recall too much church in my youth. What there was seemed extremely dull. Nobody got hit over the head with a cross, and I simply couldn't connect with the distant, forbidding, and separate God that they preached about. It was not until my late 20s that I was spiritually jolted awake again. I read a translation of the Hermetica, that esoteric collection of books supposedly written by the mysterious thrice great Hermes several thousand years ago. I actually sat up all night and read it from cover to cover. It energized me in a way that the Bible did not. This was about a God who was present and part of nature, and yet different and transcendent at the same time. This was a conversation with a God who wanted to be understood through art and science and philosophy. According to Hermetica fans and some historians, the translation of this text into Latin by Marsilio Ficini in 1471 triggered the Renaissance. People suddenly felt that science and art, an investigation of the ways things work, was not in opposition to God, but a way of honoring and worshipping what he is. And the Catholic Church discovered that once it is out, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. About this time, my parents got fed up with the UK and promptly decamped to the United Arab Emirates. Visiting them was always a fascinating experience. The contrast between oil, money, wealthy cities with gold markets that leave your jaw hanging open, and the seemingly endless empty desert, or extremely fast cars and determinedly roaming wild camels, was always a revealing juxtaposition. A few things were added to my journey of faith on these visits. The United Arab Emirates is, of course, Islamic. Living in a deeply segregated society where men and women had limited interactions with each other was always jarring. The men, of course, lived freely, allowing a wild lifestyle. Even alcohol flowed freely for national men. Wealth opens many doors. Women, on the other hand, are much more restricted. The honor of the family rests with their compliance and virginity. Here we are back to angels and virgins again. They might have benefited from significant wealth, but they certainly lacked freedom. Not being able to see the faces of 50% of the population in public made me realize how much non-verbal communication there is between humans. The UAE is, however, a very liberal Muslim country. Other religions are tolerated, a significant difference from somewhere like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. My parents often told me of the challenges they experienced when living there. My mother had to smuggle her Bible into the country. Sharia law was harsh, with weekly public executions for transgressors. Talk about getting stuck on the thermos flask. But despite the cultural restrictions, the people I came across in the Arab world were warm, funny, and welcoming. They created community within the constraints they had. But the thing that struck me the most was an unswerving belief in a loving, personal God. I always loved the 5 times a day call to prayer you hear whenever you're in the Middle East. The dawn and dusk calls were particularly meaningful to me. I recall lying in bed as dawn crept into view, and the anticipation of the day was heightened by hearing the first call, which was soon answered by others, and then more and more until the rising sun was greeted by a cacophony of praise to God. And at dusk, as the light softened and the heat of the day reduced, the sun would be escorted away to those same calls. It was a thin time for me, quite intoxicating, an unashamed demonstration of our attempts as humans to find relationship with the divine. I thought I was settled in my life, happily married, good career, but things were turned on their head by the sudden death of my father. He was just 60 and I was 28. And that event made me think a lot more about my place in the universe, my understanding of the divine, and my relationship with God. I started to explore the Celtic Church. I was living in a seaside town in North Wales, a place of the most breathtaking landscapes, with wild seas and towering mountains and lots of history. The town was called Llandudno. The word Llan in Welsh means the sacred enclosure of a particular saint. So I lived in the place of the sacred enclosure of Saint Tidno, a 5th century Celtic saint. There are over 650 place names in Wales that start with Llan. That is a whole load of saints. Celtic Christianity has its heyday from the 4th to the 7th century, probably in part coming out of the desert fathers and mothers in the Middle East. In the end, it was outcompeted by Roman Christianity. It is hard to withstand the machinery of empire. It absorbed a lot of the spirituality of the Celtic tribes who recognized the divine in nature. Their spiritual leaders were, of course, the Druids, a much maligned and misunderstood bunch. One of the largest Druid universities in Europe was located on the island of Inismorn, about 30 miles from my home. They lived among groves of sacred oak trees, whilst acting as shaman, doctor, professor, and political advisors. They were, of course, eradicated after much fierce fighting by the Romans. The Celtic Christian view of God deeply appeals to me. God is not separate, but intrinsically present. So God is all nature and people, but also all the spaces in between. God is the universe and transcendent at the same time. That is the Hermetic view too. George MacLeod, a great modern 20th century Celtic Christian revivalist, said, "If you want to meet the Creator, then go look at the created." In the original Celtic Church, God was found in daily life. There were prayers for lighting fires and milking cows. No church building was required. Instead, you would head out into nature and find a spot where you felt particularly close to God, what we would now call a thin place. There you would commune with God. And God was also found in people. The Celtic Church reflected that in the overarching requirement for hospitality to all. After all, you never know when you might be entertaining angels in disguise. Those Celtic saints would set out on foot or by boat, often without oars, to see where the Holy Spirit would take them. And there they would set up a llan to spread the Gospels to the pagan tribes. St. Tidno's enclosure was located on a wild, windswept and beautiful headland jutting out into the Irish Sea. It has been a place of worship and contemplation of what God is for over 1,500 years. And when you're sitting in the tiny parish church that in part dates from about 900 AD, you can feel the weight of it. In the summer, weather permitting, there are open-air services in the ancient graveyard, and it is there that people sit with their dogs as the local sheep and goats wander through, and seabirds wheel and cry overhead. That, to me, is being in relationship with God. But life was not settled for me, and after a difficult divorce, I was dispatched to the US to start my Asia-Pacific career. I loved spending time in China. The Chinese are an extraordinary people, hospitable, interested and interesting. They are burdened by the weight of 10,000 years of difficult history. The language is poetic, musical, specific, delightful, and frustrating. Despite studying it for over 10 years, my teacher, I am sure, thinks I am a complete idiot. It always amazed me that you could see ordinary people on the bus or the train reading Chinese literature from 2,000 years ago. I don't think you would see that here. As a society, they are not portrayed by their stereotype. They are polite, they like their space, they care deeply about nature. In every city, there are trees being planted everywhere, and any available space has a tiny park where you can see people doing their Tai Chi exercises. Family is everything thanks to the influence of Confucius, Master Kong, as he is known, who lived around 500 BC. The idea of filial piety reigns supreme, the overarching requirement for loyalty and respect to family, elders, authority, and ancestors. In reciprocation of that reverence, those being revered are supposed to demonstrate utter humbleness in life. You cannot call Confucianism a religion, but rather a philosophy of life, much like Buddhism, and it totally permeates the life of the Chinese and most Asian people. For comparison, only 7% of the Chinese population are members of the Communist Party. Confucianism is becoming important again in China. In the vacuum created by state atheism, people are seeking moral guidance and spiritual clarity. One of the most profound spiritual experiences I ever had was when I visited a Buddhist temple with Chinese people. It was a Sunday morning in Beijing, and I was at a loose end. My wonderful assistant, Wang Tian, decided I needed to do something religious, since that is what Western people do on Sundays. We braved the city traffic to visit the Yonghe Temple, old and historic. We purchased the required boxes of incense sticks and headed into the courtyard. It is hard to describe. Throngs of people, children running around, picnics and kite flying, lots of laughter. The monks in their robes of many hues of orange with flutes and drums and cymbals. It was gaudy and vibrant, the smell of incense so strong it took your breath away. I lit my incense sticks and dutifully bowed my head in front of the various statues of the Buddha. And amongst all of that bedlam, amongst the enthusiastic melee of loud and exuberant people, there was a profound stillness. I felt a total connection to the divine. It was inside me and surrounding me. I was loved. I felt joy directed towards me and to all the people around me. I might have been a foreigner, someone who looked very different, who really didn't understand, but I felt a connection to God through these people. Wang Tian is a sensitive soul and could sense that something profound had happened. She had tears in her eyes and was proud that I had had a spiritual experience in her country. It is that kindness and compassion that ties us together as one family. We might be different on the outside, but not so different after all. I've been able to give you a small snapshot of my faith journey. I realize how extraordinarily lucky I am to have so many experiences that span so much distance and so many people that I could stand and talk to you for hours, but I promise I won't. What I have realized from all of this is that God is to be found everywhere. You just have to look. God is everywhere and everything, and God is also outside of everything. God has created the universe in order to have something to love and be in relationship with. That is, of course, the panentheistic view. And I think, for me, our humanity is meant to be a reflection of that endless, unfolding divine love. There are certain things that makes us human. our desire to understand the spiritual. I wonder if Adi, our Ethiopian ancestor, looked up at the African night sky and pondered where she came from and marveled at the majesty of the heavens. We as humans are linked together by an understanding that mystery exists and that we want to be part of it. I think all those thermos flasks of religion are the way in which we try and make that mystery understandable to our limited human minds. And we also have a deep need for community. We need other people, because just like God, we need to love and be loved. And to live in community, we need to understand each other, and we can only do that by living, as the Buddha said, in radical compassion, or as Jesus put it, to love our neighbor as ourselves. I wonder if empathy and compassion are the golden thread of God that is woven into our very being. And that same thread ties us together as the human family and weaves us inescapably into the tapestry of nature. Because when we unravel that thread, then we fall apart. We become separated from nature and each other and suffer because of it. In the end, people will reach out a hand to the drowning person without first considering color, belief, gender, wealth, or status. We reach out because we see the divine that exists in all of us. That makes our differences nothing. We all laugh the same, cry the same, and dream the same, and worry the same. For me, my globe-trotting journey of faith has allowed me to see the divine active in the world. If we look, we see that divine golden thread reaching out like a mysterious spider web of connected love, and that is enough for me. Thank you.
Our closing hymn is number 159 in your gray hymnal, This Is My Song. I invite you to stand as you're willing and able to join in singing.
Thank you. Be seated.
O fwy'n ddiolch I chi am eich croeso cynnes y bore yma, which is Welsh. Said, I would like to thank you for your warm welcome this morning, and I'd like to leave you with a very traditional Scottish blessing. May the blessing of light be on you, light without and light within. May the blessed sunlight shine on you like a great peat fire, so that the stranger and friend may come and warm himself at it. And may light shine out of the two eyes of you like a candle set in the window of a house, bidding the wanderer come in out of the storm. And may the blessing of the rain be on you, and may it beat upon your spirit and wash it fair and clean, and leave there a shining pool where the blue of heaven shines, and sometimes a star. And may the blessing of the earth be on you, soft under your feet as you pass along the road, soft under you as you lie out on it, tired at the end of day. And may it rest easy over you when at last you lie out under it. May it rest so lightly over you that your soul may be out from under it quickly, up and off and on its way to God. And now may the Lord bless you and bless you kindly.
Thank you, Edwina. What you just said is perfect for our extinguishing of the chalice. Matter of fact, my words were similar. So thank you. We extinguish this chalice at the end of our time here today. May it light our path until we are together again. Please join in singing the congregational benediction.
As you stand today to join in singing our congregational benediction, I want to give special acknowledgement to Sharon Matchett, who wrote this benediction. So as she and Johnny move north, it's with both sorrow and joy we send them on their way. And we can be so grateful that Sharon's voice will stay with us in the beautiful singing of this song, as they'll always be part of our community.
May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this community sustain us. Till we meet again. This concludes our service, but before you leave, please take a moment to greet the visitors who are around you and each other. And then you can adjourn to the social hall. Now, I understand that there's something that the CYRE youngsters have put together. It's not a full-fledged snacks, but anyhow, visit them back there after you've taken time to visit one another. Thank you. Good to see you all today.
your craftsmanship. It's just beautifully written and read.